Today I'm going to show you guys how to relocate the battery to the trunk in your 1994 Mazda MX6. The reason you relocate the battery to the trunk would be to be able to put a turbocharger in your car, or for better weight distribution. The things you're going to need to relocate your battery to the trunk is going to be a large length of low gauge cable, 2 or 0. You're going to need a bracket for a battery tie down, some bolts to tie it down. Instead of using a fuse, I am using a breaker switch that will be located in the trunk. You're going to need some new battery terminals and some grounding rings, as well as the battery box. Sorry for all the background noise today. My brother is putting some coilovers on his car today with a friend. I guess we're just going to have a car working on day, so there might be a little bit extra background noise. So the first step is going to be removing your battery from your car so that you don't shock yourself to death while you're doing the project. With your battery removed, you'll be able to see just exactly how much space you're going to gain from not having a battery up here. This battery tray is all going to come out, and the frame actually only goes to about there, so you're going to get all that extra room for your nice beautiful turbo to come up and sit in the engine bay. Snail power! So in the bottom of the battery tray, there and there, are going to be two 10mm bolts that you're going to have to remove, and then you're going to go ahead and have to undo these two connectors where this line comes around the battery tray. There are actually 3 bolts, one there, and one there, and once you got that off, you should be able to pull out the battery tray. There's your first look at what it's going to look like without a battery tray, and your turbo can just come up right into there. I went ahead and put 2 terminals on the power and ground that were originally here, because I'm planning on still being able to jump it from the front and everything. I went ahead and ran my battery relocation wire just into the clamp for there, so it'll still be attached. Zip tied it there to take the strain off of that joint, and I'm going to run this down out the bottom of the car. Planning on running it along the lines with the brake lines and the fuel lines, all the way back into the trunk, up through a little grommet, and I'm going to put it right there and ground it in the trunk. The next step is going to be to jack up the back of your car and support it safely with jack stands in the proper locations. With your car jacked up in the air, it's time to figure out where you want to put that battery. Now you're going to want to go ahead and put the battery in the box, and you're going to want to figure out where you're going to put your bolts through, and just make sure they're going to fit through. And then you're going to take the battery out of the box, nice tight fit, flip it over, and you're going to want to mark where you're going to have to drill your holes, and then go ahead and drill out your holes to put the anchor bolts through. I went ahead and threaded the bolts through so you guys can see. I might have to grind off a little bit on this little handle part on the battery, but as you can see, those line up there. Well, actually, they line up a little bit that way of it, but it's going to be the tie down that's going to go across there. These bolts are the 10-inch long ones, and once it's actually through the bottom of the car, this will fit with the lid on top. And then you're going to use this little bracket and end up putting it across the top. Fabbed up this battery tie down bracket and drilled the holes so that they line up perfectly with these holes. And this is important because I'm going to use this as a template underneath the car, so I'll know where to drill my holes to make them line up with the bottom of the battery box. So underneath the car, right next to the muffler, there's this little space in between, I guess it's like the corner of like the bumper and this frame piece. And this is where I'm planning on drilling my holes. I'm going to get a sort of guesstimate of what's going to be the best place for that in the trunk. So I went ahead and made a mark there and a mark there of where I need to drill, and I'm going to go ahead and drill up into the trunk. It's a little difficult to drill through, but make sure you're using proper eye protection because you don't want to get metal shavings in your eyes. In other news, my ECU arrived from Scott DeGrillis. Thank you. We'll see that in another video. Underneath all this mess of carpet, you can see a hole. Shows the daylight, and that's the hole we just drilled through. That's where your bolts are going to come up. Underneath all this carpet, then we're just going to cut a little hole for that to pop through. Here you can see the two holes going up into the trunk compartment, and that's where your bolts are going to come through. I pushed the bolts up and marked where I could feel them hitting, there and there, and I'm going to go ahead and cut a little hole for those bolts to pop through. I've run the things through and got them through the carpet. I'm going to go ahead and put the battery box on top of that. So I got the battery box in, and it's going very smoothly. This is only threaded for, I think it's 8 inches or 6 inches, so the bottom is bare, but I'm trying to make it so that this box is tightened all the way down. So what I've done is gotten a little spacer tube or whatever, put it down there, and I'm spinning this nut down so I can push the bottom of the box against the bottom of the trunk. Here you can see the battery box. I've tightened it down, spaced it out with some washers also, and the battery is ready to go in. This is the best shot I can get of you guys of where my battery ground is. It's attached on a little bolt right there. That's a cable that comes up over there, and that's going to be my battery ground. There's the box in there, and we're going to put the battery in now. So I got the battery in, ready to put the tie down across. The ground is a little too short, but I'll figure something out to get it over to that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put that tie down on across. I managed to get everything in. I even got the negative battery cable attached with a wire connecting it to the negative. I got everything strapped down and in the box, and now I just need to run the positive battery cable through to the front of the car. I've attached the circuit breaker to the directly to the terminal of the battery, and then I'm just going to have to run the other end of the battery thing in through there. So if you want to break the signal and turn off the battery, all you have to do is push this button, and that opens the circuit, and then you just flip it back and it clips it shut. I've taken the battery cable and run it down by the transmission out underneath the car. You can see where it's attached there, and now we're going to work on securing this all the way to the back of the car. This wire comes down out from underneath the engine bay, then it goes over the control arm, and I'm going to route it to go with all of these fuel and brake hoses going to the back. Use zip ties to connect everything to where it needs to go. I've run it over that rear control arm, and I'm going to run it around there and up into that hole right there. So I've run the cable from the control arm up and over, attached, down that way, and it's going to go into this hole, which goes into the trunk compartment. But my cable is too short. It'll only reach to about there. So I'm going to have to go buy some more. I pulled this one from a junkyard, but I'm going to have to go buy some more wire and cut that and add a couple of feet up into the thing. But that's a project that I won't be able to start until tomorrow. I won't be able to finish this until tomorrow. So right now I'll edit my some videos and post them for you guys while you wait. I finally got some more wire, and I made sure to insulate this really, really well. I got a little connector thing, one of these, It's a like splice connecting tube thing. Tighten it down so it's real tight in there. Then I wrapped the whole thing in paper towels, and then wrapped it in electrical tape, then wrapped it in more electrical tape, then wire conduit, then more paper towels, and more electrical tape, and hopefully that should be extremely well insulated. So now you're going to go ahead and run, hopefully you guys won't have this problem because you'll get the right amount of wire, but I don't have the exact specifications on that, but you're going to get that end and run it up into that hole right there. Once you've got it routed into the engine bay, you can go ahead and get it to where your terminal is going to attach to where it needs to, and you can go ahead and start to get your ring terminal attached to the end of the wire. Okay, I'm back and it's nighttime now. I went to work and stuff. I've moved the battery ground after testing it, and the other place I was grounding it was not a good one, so I've moved it to here. It's up underneath the rear speaker deck in the car. This ground, underneath that bolt, there is clear metal, and it goes right into the frame of the window, I assume, and so that's a good place for it to mount. As you can see, I've attached it very securely to the battery post, and then I'll try and show you guys how I've proved that this works as a good ground. Okay, so I've also went ahead and connected the I-ring there, and you'll see when I touch this to this, that purple light means that we have power. Awesome, so we know it works. Now we're going to go ahead and get the relay thing set up. Once you've got your relay hooked up with the power going on one side and coming out the other, you can go ahead and attach the terminals to where they need to go. And now I'm going to show you guys how it works. With the circuit breaker open, like it is now, no power comes through these two. It stops power from coming in between these two. But when I close that by flipping the switch to the side, making it straight in line, it should give power back to the car. Okay, there, I flipped it, and there you go. You can see the car has power. And with everything strapped down, you can go ahead and put your lid on, and you're good to go. Just for continuity's sake, we're going to follow the cable from the battery. Goes down into the carpet there. It comes out there. That's where it's spliced with the other wire. It goes over the top of the rear K-frame, across the bottom of the gas tank, along the lines, the fuel lines and the brake lines, comes over here, over the front cross member, and the front control arm, and then it comes up by the transmission and attaches to where it usually would attach to normal battery location. This has been how to relocate your battery to your trunk on a 1994 Mazda MX6. Total, I'd say this took me between 4 and 5 hours because I had to figure out how to do everything wrong and how to do it right again. It took me a little bit longer than actually, about 2 days, because I had to get parts, I forgot parts broke, etc., etc. But if I had to do this again, it'd probably take me about 3 hours. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Total cost I've spent on this so far is around $60. You can see this on my KLDE Turbo prices thread on the MX6.com, and check out my build thread, which is Kramer Ward-Call / Pigeon853 build thread on MX6.com. Thank you for watching.